cups on the desk in my room. I actually left a bowl on the floor in my room overnight. Wow. Contrary to the title of this video, this is not going to be talking about things that I ship, rather things that shipped that I was a part of things in times. Before we start this video, yes, I would like to point out this dress that I am wearing. Yes, I have worn this to school before. So, in elementary school, I had these really good friends that happened to be of the male gender. And let me tell you, I wasn't very popular in elementary school, but I come from a small town and a smaller school where everybody knows everybody. So even though I wasn't popular, like, everybody still knew my name and where I came from, just like I could tell you the middle name and the parents' occupation of someone I've never talked to in my entire life. So, everybody was all into this weird dating thing at that time, which I figure is normal, but Arrow Ace over here, so I was like, why? And they always had boyfriends, but they never talked to them. So it was like, oh yeah, I'm dating Joseph. And it's like, really? Because you've been on the other side of the school, on the other side of the playground with all of your girlfriends, not hanging out with him once. Also, the genders were pretty divided, so there'd be groups of girls and there'd be groups of boys, but they would never intermingle. And there was this one group of boys, which I called the group because it's like the only obvious group. And the leader of the group, who I called Tater Tot, for no reason in particular, and I only started doing that in middle school when I never talked to him, so that's not why he hated me. Anyways, he always said that I couldn't play with them because I was a girl, which is like so sexist, but I figure that's, you know, what people did in elementary school anyways, because they were kids and they just, I don't know, wanted their friends. So anyways, this girl, she was popular. She'd go, you know, have parties at her house and play spin the bottle and like closet games, 5 seconds in the closet or something. I don't actually think that she ever had that party, but she wanted to. She really wanted to, and everybody wanted to participate. I mean, I wanted to participate, but like, just because I didn't want to be left out, not actually participate in any of it, and I never actually got invited, and I never actually said that I wanted to go, so, whatever. Whatever. So everybody was dating somebody, and they always had like these great ideas and expectations for dating somebody, but they never actually dated anybody. It was a really weird time because, you know, children, right? So I didn't date anybody, and I didn't want to date anybody. I had these really close friends, back to this. So the group, I insisted on hanging out with the group because I got totally trampled on hanging out with the girls. It was completely broke my heart. They were so rude. Anyways, so I insisted on hanging out with the group, and I had a friend with me that actually just kind of followed me around everywhere, and it was pretty chill, you know, so I wasn't alone. Exactly. And so they came with me to the group and everything, and there was like a family friend's kid or something, so I knew this dude since I was really little, and so I always would hang around him, and he was a part of the group. Now, Tater Tot did not like this, like, at all, but I mean, he couldn't do anything about it because I was there and I wasn't leaving, so he would always joke and be like, yeah, why do you keep bringing your girlfriends over here, or better go give them a smooch. It was super weird, but me and my friend just kind of like laughed it off and everything anyways, and I'm not really sure if it's an insult to say that they have girlfriends in elementary school, but I figure that they didn't know that wasn't an insult yet. One time, I remember, my friend, he took something of mine, I don't remember what, and he was running, so I was chasing him, and I was like, you know, I was gonna tackle him. I just leaped, just threw him on the ground, and I was like, give! And he wasn't giving, he was trying to fight to get back up, but he was a small fellow, and I was not a small fellow. So I like held down their arms, and I like got all in his face, and I was like, give! And Tater Tot from way across the playground came marching up on the thing, looking down, and then he saw that, and he just started chanting, kiss, kiss, kiss! And I looked up, and I was like... And then I just stood up and helped my friend up. who had just dust like all over them from the playground. Sorry. I think I got my thing back though, whatever I was wanting. It was pretty important apparently. But I remember that just being really funny, and so as you can see, the intro to this isn't even in, but the intro to this story that sets a theme about the idea of my elementary school. So at lunch, we had these really long tables, and everybody had to all sit next to each other at the table because they weren't separate tables, and we had different rows of these tables. So I would sit at the table with my friend, who was a guy, and other people would sit there, but they would always just like talk about. I just got interrupted. Anyways, so the people who would sit at the table around us would always talk about the fact that we're sitting together, because guys and girls would never sit together, even if they were friends, and it was just a really weird social stigma. So we sat at this table, and there were just all these girls there, and I don't even think that the guy group, like, sat there, around us anyways. But I sat with my friend, and we would talk and stuff, and then people would just talk about how we're dating, which we weren't. And they would talk about, you know, how cute we are and stuff, and it's like, we're not dating. And then they would just go like, yeah, you're not dating. And it was super weird and super awkward, and it's like, we're not dating. And this was before the ship concept even existed, but the entire school shipped us. So me and my friend, we just got used to being like, just ignoring it, or just going with the flow of like, whatever. Yeah, you know, you get used to it, but we're still not dating. It was absolutely hilarious. It was like my life was a sitcom. It was wonderful, because that was the only time that people ever really talked to me or about me, unless it was rude. So everybody shipped us, and they were always like, but you should date. Like, either they weren't convinced that we weren't dating, or they insisted that we need to. And everybody agreed. Everybody agreed about that. Like, legit, every person talked about that, right? So that went on for a few years at the beginning of elementary school. And then this new boy moved to town and to our school, and they were all foreign and new, and immediately became a part of the boy group, right? So immediately, I became friends with them. Now, my elementary school logic of friends, especially with guys who insisted that I can't be friends with them because I'm a girl and I'm too weak, was generally the fact that I had to overpower them, which frightened a lot of people. So I was not the nicest person to this boy, but we became good friends anyways. So we would sit together as well at lunch and stuff, and we got really close and became good friends and chilled and did stuff. Now, my original friends, since they were like a kid of a family friend or whatever, they'd come over to my house and we'd hang out and do stuff. Remember one time, they took all of my Barbie dolls and took all of the clothes off of them and said, "This is better," and then sat them in a circle. Now, I didn't really play with Barbie dolls, I just had it because my friends liked them, but I don't think that's how you play with Barbie dolls. Is it? Anyways, but this other friend, their parents wouldn't let him go to a girl's house, which was super weird because I wasn't a girl, I was a 7-year-old. You know, okay, you don't let your son go to like some woman's house, that makes sense, but a 7-year-old? What's gonna happen? Seriously. It was over both of our heads. So we were good friends, and we would talk and chat and walk and stuff. We played games on the playground, but the games were generally overpowering, like I was an evil witch, or it was the only way that I could play with the group was if I wasn't really a part of the group, but I was against the group. It was the only way that they would let me play, and it was actually really fun to act that out and stuff, but eventually Taylor Katak got really annoyed that I was stealing all of his friends, and then took them all away from me, and made them stop playing, but I was having a good time, so it wasn't fair. I would pretend to like mind control them, and then they'd have to go take their group mates and like betray them, and it was really cool, actually. It was really fun. Like I said, my other friend took something of mine and I tackled them. I had that type of mindset a lot through elementary school. So this new friend of mine, this new kid, he said something, or he disagreed with me on something, and I wasn't actually mad, but I was like pretending to be mad. So I got my friend to help me, and we picked up their ankles and picked up their arms and lifted them and just started swinging them on top of the playground, right? So here's like the playground set, and there's like railings over here and stuff, and then there's a slide, but it's not like one slide, it's two slides. So there's like a thing in the middle, so if somebody were to fall down sideways, they would like break their back on it, right? And we're pretty high up, so we're swinging them right here, threatening to throw them off of the play set thing onto the slide, and we didn't. We did it until they apologized. They were being pretty sassy the whole time too, playing along, but then they got really afraid, and then we swung like we were gonna drop them, and then we just sat them down gently onto the ground. They didn't do whatever it was that they had done again. So I don't really know why anybody shipped me with people, because I did my best to make sure that people did not see me as a girl that cannot play with the boys as an equal friend. So like I was saying, this new kid came, and we became really good friends, and we sat together. So then people were talking about what happened to the other guy, and then other people were talking about how cute of a couple we were and how we were dating. And now I'm like, okay, we're not dating. And he was like, oh, you know, you get used to it. And I was like, yeah, I know, I do get used to it. I've been doing it literally since I started elementary school. To which they shut up. They seemed surprised by that information, but I mean, apparently it happens in other elementary schools too if they had to get used to it as well. So I hung out with him a lot more often than I hung out with my other friend during this time that he had moved here. And then half of the school was just certain that we were dating. And when we told them that we weren't or whatever, it was a lot less adamant than at the beginning, because I had just gotten used to it and I had just accepted, you know, people are gonna say what they're gonna say. And it's just kind of like rumors that spread and stuff. But like people also shipped it. People also were like, but you should date. And then the other half was like, no, she doesn't belong with him. She belongs with this other dude. So there was a ship war at my elementary school over me and two of my friends. Like a serious ship war. Like the elementary school was split in half, and they were arguing over who I should date. And it was like, dudes, I ain't dating either of them. Thanks. Eventually, the new kid moved away again at the end of elementary school. He was only there for like a year or two. And, people kind of settled down on the ship wars then. But I figure that's really weird. That I was used to it. So I was like, okay, but I actually think that's probably actually really odd. Anyways, and side note, or whatever you want to call it, I got in contact with this person again at another time, and they said that during that time they were afraid of me, but they liked me, liked me. I'm pretty sure my original friend said something similar to that as well. Thanks. But seriously though, I wonder if my elementary school is now a part of Tumblr ship wars. Or are they just still shipping real people? Maybe they're gonna start shipping me again. They won't see this.